What's going on YouTube? So Mercedes is known for their boxy SUVs such as the G-Wagon and GLS. However, if a $100,000 price or more is slightly out of your budget, you have another option, this GLB. Now for 2024, Mercedes has extensively refreshed this model with new technology and an updated design. So, is this a half-price Mercedes GLS now? Well, let's go ahead and find out. All right, so let's go ahead and get things started here under the hood. We do see some updates for this 2024 refresh for the GLB 250. We now have a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine with new EQ boost. Total output on this is going to be 221 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. You'll continue to also have the AMG offerings as well. Now, in terms of your transmission, you have an 8-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission. You have front-wheel drive or available 4MATIC all-wheel drive. And when you choose the 4MATIC all-wheel drive, you're looking at a combined EPA rating of 27 mpg. Now, of course, we're going to show you the performance later on when we go out for our extensive test drive. We're going to do things like getting our signature sound level reading so that we can compare the 2024 GLB to all its many luxury subcompact rivals. But first, let's close up the hood and get into some of these exterior updates. Now, at the beginning, I asked, is this a half-price GLS? Well, with what Mercedes did to the front-end design, you might actually mistake the two of them. Of course, this being a lot shorter, but you do have a very, very similar looking face now. So as you can see, they've gone to this new 4-bar effect on the grille. So you have the silver finish that goes all through here. I think it makes this look even more pronounced and even boxier than before. Now, obviously, if you don't like this, though, you can still choose AMG line. That will give you a little bit more of a sporty and athletic look. Now, in terms of our headlights, these have also been changed for 2024 as well. Taking a look at them, they still have the same square shape, but we now have the full LED reflectors as standard equipment. You can also upgrade these to a little bit fancier of an arrangement, and then you also have your daytime running light and turn signal indicator going across the top. That looks quite nice. Down below, you're also going to find LED fog lamps in a new housing for 2024. Now, as I walk around to the rear design, it hasn't changed quite as much as the front design, but you'll continue to find that signature GLB look, of course, being very boxy. Now, as far as design elements you see back here, you've got the spoiler up top, exposed wiper, and I want to talk about what we find here in the middle. These are our LED taillights. We are seeing some changes for 2024 in the overall design. We now have that dash pattern that you've seen on some of the latest Mercedes models. And let's check and see if all the elements are going to be LED. So as you can see, we have the LED reverse light. We also have an amber turn signal located right there. So all the elements are going to be LED. These are very nice and premium looking. Now, as I move down below that, we're going to have a chrome accent on the lower part of the bumper. We also have dual exhaust outlets on all trim levels. These are going to be fake tips, and it actually comes out a little bit behind that to keep this nice and clean. Now, as we move on to the wheels, you do have 18, 19, or 20-inch alloy options. This is one of the optional 18-inch alloy wheels. I do like the look of this. It has a nice contrast finish with a lot of spokes. One of the other things you'll notice is to give this a little bit more of an SUV-like stance, you do have the black cladding, that goes around the wheel arches as well as the lower part of the side. Now, as we move up here to our mirrors, we've got actually all the features that you can have as standard equipment. So you're going to have blind spot monitoring, you have heating, you have power folding, and you have auto dimming. Now, in terms of the side design, this is another area where, of course, you've got that nice boxy look. You do still have nice and tall windows, though, which is something that I like. As far as 2024 changes, you're going to have a couple new colors to choose from, but overall, the wheelbase, of course, is going to be exactly the same at just a little over 182 inches long. Now, talking about safety, there are some new updates here. You're going to have standard forward emergency braking, and now for 2024, you also have standard auto high beam headlights. All of your other advanced safety features are available in a driver's assistance package. But let's go ahead and get to the interior, see what's new in there. But first,
if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, so let's go ahead and get inside. First, of course, though, we'll take a quick look at the key fob. Typical Mercedes key fob. You do have a standard smart entry system. Remote start is available via the Mercedes app. And to get inside, just grab behind the handle. That will unlock the door and fold the mirrors outward. Now, taking a look inside the cabin. If you watched our 2024 Mercedes CLA review, you're going to notice some of the same changes from that model, also here with the GLB. But before we get into the specifics, let's talk about your seat and your color options. So you're going to start out with MB Tech's Leatherette. That's what today's model has. As you can see, we've got the macchiato beige. You can also get black if you prefer. And overall, this feels pretty realistic. You are going to have 12 ways of power adjustment, as well as 4-way lumbar support as standard equipment. That's located over here on the door trim. And you also have 3-person memory seating. Your heated seats are located right there as well. That's a standard feature. And I also, before I forget, want to mention that you can option on real leather if you are a stickler for that with some of your other models. But let's go ahead and climb inside so we can get into the details. First off here, let's get into our overall material quality. We'll start off with our door trim. You're going to find leatherette all through here, as well as the center section, and even all along the top with the double stitching detail. As we move to the upper dash, this is all going to be finished in a soft touch plastic. And through the center section, you'll notice you can have a variety of different trims. I believe they're offering 4. This is a special star pattern, which I believe illuminates with the ambient lighting. You have some silver trim through there, and down on your lower parts, these are going to be hard touch, but they're going to be finished in a piano black and feel pretty solid. But let's go ahead and fire it up with the standard push button start. And now that we've fired it up, let's go ahead and get into some of the individual features. We'll start, of course, with the gauge cluster, and I might as well just go ahead and point out the fact that you now have the dual 10.25-inch display set up as standard on all GLBs. That, of course, includes this side, which is our gauge cluster, and you can reconfigure all the different elements inside of here, just like you can on all Mercedes models. Now, if you choose a high-end Pinnacle, you can also add a head-up display to this setup. Pulling back to the steering wheel, you have rain-sensing wipers. We have an updated design for 2024 with the latest look. You're going to have the touch capacitive buttons here for your common functions. You have paddle shifters built into the back. The wheel itself will be manual tilt and telescoping, and steering wheel heating is an available option. Now, let's talk about interior storage. We'll pop this open, which of course is going to be loaded with donuts because this is Car Confections after all. We like to do the donut test, and this GLB can hold 10 donuts. Now, looking at it, you'd think that it's not going to hold that much because it is pretty narrow, but it's actually quite deep. So you're going to be able to put quite a few inside of this. That's decent for a subcompact crossover. Your control pad area is going to be revised this year, so you just kind of have a rubber mat now. You have your 2 cup holders, which are reconfigurable. And in the front here, we have a wireless phone charging pad, which is a new standard feature across the GLB lineup for 2024. Of course, there's no shifter down here because it is going to be located up here on the column. Pull down for drive. You've got those paddles I mentioned earlier. Press up for reverse. And when you go into reverse, you are going to have this standard backup camera. As you can see, we do have front and rear parking sensors as well as active trajectory. You can also option on, of course, a 360-degree camera system, but this model we're in today doesn't really have basically any interior optional equipment. One thing that is a surprising standard feature, though, is that we have park assist, so this will allow you to get into and out of parallel or perpendicular parking spots automatically. Right in this zone, you have your volume knob as well, and this will be a good time to go ahead and sample out the standard audio system. So overall sound quality of this system is pretty solid. Of course, you can also choose to upgrade to a Burmester sound system if you want something a little bit more premium. Alright, so we'll continue our tour and head up to the climate controls. This has kind of the more classic Mercedes setup, which for a lot of you guys you'll be thankful for. You still have the metal toggles to make your adjustments to the temperature, no touch buttons or anything like that for all of the controls. You have your nice distinct round vents up here at the top. And then we have our display, of course. Like I said, it is 10.25 inches. You do have standard wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay, which is what I'm in right now. And then you have got all the typical MBUX features. This is a very rich system, so you have a lot of different functionalities. You also have your voice assistant, I should say, for doing a lot of the functions with your voice. And by the way, you will have to go up one more rung if you want the built-in navigation system. Up top here, you've got an auto-dimming mirror. You're going to have your 3 HomeLink universal remotes built into the bottom of it. And then lastly, we have another feature that of course is available but we don't have on today's example, and that will be a panoramic sunroof. Alright, now it's time to check out the rear seats as well. So we'll start out, of course, with the space. We're looking at a little over 38 inches of legroom and a little over 39 inches of headroom. Especially with the headroom, it feels so spacious in here. That boxy shape really affords you a lot of headroom and great views out these large windows. I definitely appreciate that. But we, of course, are going to check this ourselves. So the seat is adjusted to my 5'8" driving position. And as you can see behind that, we're going to have, it looks like about 9 inches of knee space, plus a lot of space to wiggle around the feet. One of the nice things about the GLB is that the seats are highly adjustable back here, so we can slide forward and back, looks like quite a distance, and we can also recline the seats as well. Now, let's get into some of the features. Coming over here, we have our rear vents. That's a standard feature. You are also going to have some outlets back here, including 2 USB ports and a household outlet. That's a nice touch to see. And then you also have your fold-down armrest with 2 cup holders located right here on the back. Now, as we kind of turn towards the door trim, the materials are going to be very similar to the front design. So you're going to have leatherette from the top portion all the way down through the armrest area. And then you also have some bottle storage and other storage right there. Now let's check out the cargo area. Of course, we do have a power tailgate. And once that opens up, you're going to be pleasantly surprised by what you find back here, namely a lot of space. Behind the second row, you're looking at 24 cubic feet of space. When you fold those seats down, you're going to have 56.7 cubic feet of space. And the really cool thing about that, guys, is that that is very, very similar to the GLC, the more expensive and bigger brother to this model. So the boxy shape really affords you a lot of extra space when it comes to that. Now, the other unique thing about the GLB that needs to be talked about is the fact that you can actually get this with a third row. That's a super rare feature, and yes, it would be, really claustrophobic, but it would be a good feature to have for those of you who want to have a third row in case of an emergency or something like that. You can get that here with the GLB. Now, it's time to go ahead and get some measurements. As you know, we like to do that here at Car Confections, and I'm going to fold the seats down. There's no handles or anything back here, so you will need to move up to the front to do that. Alright, now that I've got them folded down, I went ahead and extended the tape measure here so we can get this measurement from the front seat to the back. We're looking at 72 inches, or exactly 6 feet, where you can stick your belongings. When we bring this into the second row, so behind the second row to the cargo trunk here, we have 37 inches of space, and then let's get the width. We're looking at 40 inches. So just like I said earlier, not to beat a dead horse here, the boxy shape does give you a lot more utility than you'd expect. Lastly, we've got a cargo cover, and then underneath of the floor, you have a good deal more storage, but you're not going to find a spare tire. All right, guys, it's time to head out on the road with the refreshed 2024 GLB. As always, we're going to be talking about all the typical fare of information, including getting our signature sound level reading. And I just want to take a second before we really get into this to just make everybody aware. If you haven't seen him on the channel before, this is Josh. He's our newest team member, on the Car Confections team, and he's filling in today for Mason, who could not be here. All right, 60 miles an hour.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. Now, to remind you guys what we said in the spec dump, this is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine with the new EQ boost system for 2024. Our power figures are 221 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque, and it was really just a couple weeks ago, I think, that we were driving the CLA, and inside of that, I was commenting about how spiffy it felt. It's a very punchy motor, and I feel the same way here with the GLB. Gets off the line really nicely with the torque and just feels pretty alive, even though this is the basic powertrain in the GLB lineup.
And if you want something that has even more life to it, you also have the choice of the GLB 35 AMG, and that comes with an enhanced 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder, and that has 302 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque, and that can get a 0 to 60 of 5.1 seconds as estimated by Mercedes. And that also has the new treatment of the EQ boost for this year as well.
Since we keep hitting red lights, might as well go ahead and take this time to talk a little bit about EQ boost. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but as I was coming to a stop there, the engine went ahead and shut off. That is one of the functionalities of the EQ boost system, is giving you that mild hybrid ability. So it's going to be able to power advanced auto start stop, keep that engine off longer, keep powering your climate controls, your electronics without needing to refire the engine. And it is one of the reasons why this is improved by 1 mpg, I believe, for 2024.
And Drew was right there. The MPG does increase by 1 for the all-wheel drive models for 2024, and you're coming in at a 27 miles per gallon combined. If you go for the front-wheel drive model, you will be at 28 miles to the gallon combined. And if you go for the top AMG model, you will be at 23 miles to the gallon combined. So not bad, and glad to see the improvements here with the EQ boost.
Now, as I accelerate out of that red light, this is a good time to talk about the other aspect of the powertrain, which is our transmission. This has an 8-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission. Having a dual clutch is going to give you performance benefits. It's a very fast shifting transmission. When you put your foot down, you're going to get those shifts nice and quickly. And overall, in the day-to-day, I think this is smoother than a lot of dual clutches in like stop-and-go traffic and those kinds of situations.
Yeah, I think that was the first thing I noticed when you accelerated. It was not even the speed itself, but just how quick it rattled off those shifts, and I really appreciate that, even for this 250 model.
Yeah, exactly, and this is a front-wheel drive-based architecture, but you can get the 4MATIC all-wheel drive, as we mentioned at the beginning, in the spec dump. Now, up to speed on the highway, we can talk a little bit about ride quality. In terms of this, obviously, this is not going to be, your most luxurious Mercedes. This is more of an entry point into their crossover lineup. That being said, it is plenty comfortable overall. This, again, is just the standard version, the 250, and we also have relatively small wheels. They're going to be 18-inch alloy wheels, so you're going to have a good amount of cushion as you go down the highway. You have the availability, though, to get an adaptive suspension if that's something that you prefer. That would probably, will give you a little bit more variability between comfort on the highway as well as dynamics when you want things to firm up a bit. All right, we've reached the part of the road where we get our signature sound level reading, so let's get to it.
Let's get down to fan speed 1. And we will settle in at 61.8 decibels for this 2024 Mercedes GLB. And I don't sit here and have to guess about how this compares to all of its competitors, because I can go to carconfections.com/sound level readings to see how this rates against all of its competitors, as well as look a master list if you would like to see every single car that we have tested here on the channel. So let me go ahead and do that to compare it to its competitors. And that sound level reading will rank the GLB at the highest in its class, but not too far above the rest of its competitors.
Yeah, we're dealing with a little bit of wind today, and obviously it's probably not the most aerodynamic shape. We've been talking about how boxy it is this entire review. One thing we still need to do is talk about today's slam dunk and airball. That's our favorite and least favorite element about the GLB. This is going to be a pretty broad slam dunk today, but it's going to be our 2024 updates. This is a model that had used some nice strong elements in terms of space. We talked very highly about that today. That obviously didn't change for the refresh, but what they did change were all improvements, adding the EQ boost, enhancing the overall technology, and I also like what they did to the design.
And when it comes to the airball for the GLB today, as much as we do love these updates, including this 10.25-inch display, honestly, these air vents kind of protrude into the space of using the screen to its fullest capability, and so maybe it'd be nice to have something a little bit lower profile that would make it easier to fully enjoy the technology that is on board with this model.
Yeah, and this is only a touchscreen now. As you noticed that when we're doing the inside, you don't have the controller like you used to.
And to wrap things up, guys, we will finish off with the warranty. You have a 4-year, 50,000-mile warranty for both your basic and powertrain, and Mercedes does not currently offer complimentary maintenance.
Now let's go ahead and talk about the pricing. Because there's so many more standard features for 2024, you're going to notice that the prices have increased quite substantially this model year. Our new base price now is $44,450. That's with front-wheel drive, of course. If you upgrade to 4MATIC, that's going to cost $2,000. And of course, the AMG models are going to cost more as well. This example we've been looking at today, though, is really light on equipment. So besides for the 4MATIC all-wheel drive system, we're looking at a pretty reasonable price of $47,800. Now, if you're looking to buy a new Mercedes GLB, or any vehicle for that matter, a great place to head is carconfections.com/newcarquotes. On our website, you'll find a tool which will connect you to local dealerships in your area to give you the best price on your new vehicle, as well as access to invoice pricing. If you'd like to check that out, a link is provided in the video description. Well, guys, thanks for joining us for this in-depth review of the refreshed 2024 Mercedes GLB. We hope you enjoyed this video. You found it useful, helpful, and insightful. And if you did, make sure to go down below and subscribe. We make lots of content about Mercedes, as well as all types of luxury and mainstream models that you won't want to miss out on, and subscribing will give you access to that information. If you're already a subscriber, we really appreciate your continued support, because you make it possible for us to test out all the latest models on the market. Also, additionally, follow us on TikTok and Instagram if you want to see short form content, as well as pictures and things that we do in the day-to-day. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.